Okay, good evening. It is December 12th. We just marked up key levels using the wick engulfing block technique, if you want to call it that. We just uploaded, so you can see that online. We're going to go to the 2-week chart because we just hit these blocks on the 3-month and the 1-month. And now we want to get our first momentum reading. And these momentum readings, so basically on the 8-hour, which is my active trading time, I want to see price approaching a key level that I've marked out. So you can see here in the last video when we just charted it up. During the charting, I thought that this could be a point of control, POC, for the 2-week. And when we turned on the volume profile, it actually lined up along with quite a few of the key levels. And then we checked it on AI, asking, okay, we drew this many key levels from the wick engulfing block method. How many of the key levels are there? Count them. Ask AI, hey, what are the top 10, top 15 key levels for this stock over the last couple of years? It gave us quite a few numbers, and then we charted it. Well, we didn't chart it, we checked it. But now we're moving to the 2-week to read momentum. So let me just double click all these areas, make sure everything's kind of lined up nicely. So on the 2-week, I'm going to open it up, and you can see this downward flow with a little bit of reduction in the volume. However, I'd call this short still, even if it, wants to try to curl up. I'm gonna call it short at the moment because it just broke through. That was back in September, or November, about a month ago. It was definitely weakening. So in this case, I'm gonna give this a grade of 4. We're looking at stochastics. This looks pretty weak. It's down in this bullish territory, kind of flicking off of the 20. So I'll grade that. I have to look at price, but I think I'll grade that as a 3. And I would grade that as bouncing down past the 50. Looks like it's rejecting. Signal line's kind of falling over. I'll call that a 3. If it was to break below this previous, then it would turn into a strong short. So 4, 3, 4 is my grade for each level. I want to basically take the double, so 4 and 4. That's going to lead or dominate the trend grading. So basically here on GME, I'm going to put in 4. Put in 4 as we already have. And when we do, it gives, it gives some sort of calculation. So I change this to 3. It's a medium short. This is like they're both strong shorts. But since they've just kind of crossed over, it gives the light. And then we'll go down to the 2-day to regrade the 2-day. That's looking short. It's underneath the 0 and turning down, as you can see. This still has some ways to go. This is a bit of a stretch, but because of the weakness of the RSI here, I'll call this a 3 actually. I think I would call this a 3, and call this a 4, because even though it's cracked down, it may bounce off. Yeah, it's still above actually, so call this a 4. So 3, 4, 4. So 3, 4, 4. It's a 4 overall. Which is why we had the 4, but that was kind of luck. Because I had just recorded this and was only grading the MACD, not all 3, and then having an average or a 2 out of 3 grade. Now let's go to the 8-hour. This looks really good. Well, unfortunately, it's already crashed down through, so that would have been such a perfect trade. You know, you're seeing this. This is kind of pushing up, getting some divergence. It's pushing down. This is pushing up. This is pushing down a little bit. And it's already way down. But based on the way that I grade this, I kind of just try to not overthink it. And if you're unsure, I'll go one grade higher. So even though this looks like a 3, because it's well, it does look like a 3. Super strong short. But you've got this unknown. But because it's heading down, I'm gonna assume even if there's a pull back, it will come back down. Maybe it just shoots and bounces up off the 0 line. You never know. Another thing that I'll use is on the 8-hour. I use the fibs. I've kind of customized them to mirror each other. And since it's heading short on the 8-hour, this 0.786 is like 7%, 8%. And this channel, when you start to see things escaping the channel, as long as it doesn't bounce off this channel, which historically, you know, it just shot right through quite a bit of the range to the 0.5 more or less. So that's what I'm going to kind of count on until things look different, potentially. This is looking super short, so I'll go with that. Call it a 3. And this is way freaking down there. Do the same thing, except instead of going a little bit more custom to how the MACD looks, because MACD scale is different on every chart. Stochastic RSI are always between 0 and 100. So I'll just throw that on there, put this at the 0. There. So I would expect some kind of bounce up, potentially to the 5, before staying down, or if it really is going to go short, potentially come back up into this 50 kind of zone, reject off of this, and come back down. So we'll see. And then same thing for RSI. I'm going to take MACD, or fibs from the 50 line down to the 0. Since well, it doesn't really matter because this is a balanced fib, but we can see it's on the 236 and 236. So if we can get under the 236, we should have some fun with it being short. But since signal's still above, plenty of opportunity for it to try to come back up. But at least we have this middle section, which I'll call the stream. Let's cross this stream. And when you're done with all 3, did I grade that? 3? Was it a 3? That might have been again from the MACD last time. That's looking short. And this is short, but because it's above 50, signal's above 50, and it's snapping up a little bit on a Friday. We'll call this, I think this was 3. This will be 3 since it's way freaking down. Call this 4 since it's not quite as in a decisive position. If it was breaking down from the stream here, I'd give it a little more. I think I want to take off, hide this 0. It's kind of noisy. This is more of a clean channel. Anyways, 334, and that means it will be a 3. And at this point, I would go into Options Profit Calculator, which is a great website. If you haven't used it, if you know a better one, please drop in the comments. But in this case, we've assessed that the trade would be a short. So let's see. Long put. Yeah. I don't know why it's called a long put, but GME. Typically, I like to run my trades expiration for contracts out like 2 months, because sometimes with my higher time frames that I like to trade at for swing trading, it could take a couple days for my limit order to hit. So it's more of a protection feature. So 2 months would be February 19th. So we got close. We got April. We got Jan 30th. I go Jan 30th. I like to target at the money options, and I'll just kind of default go with the cheaper one, which should give us a tad more volatility. And then you can see, and what's beautiful about this is, look at this. So one contract is $100 for 2 months. And one nice thing which you may have seen is that if you don't want to put a stop loss, like for example, my current risk is 1% to 3% of my account, which is about $100 to $300. So if I was to enter this, I wouldn't set a stop. I would mark one out so I have one in my mind, but I would, especially if I was trading high volume shares. But in this case, I'd actually put no stop loss, because I'm happy to lose the $100 if I'm wrong for this idea. Well, for an idea that I would place. And these are the types of stocks that I currently like to trade, where I can get a 2-month contract for around $100 to $200, $100 to $300. Now, the beauty of being able to get cheaper contracts is if I really was convicted with this trade, let's just say I was like, yeah, GME is going short. Oh, excuse me. All right, so we're at this level here, and I know that the contract is 2 months. What I would do is I would say, okay, I'm entering around here, and the expiration I think was Jan 30. Jan 30. So I'd put another one at Jan 30. Right there, let's see, 12 o'clock, okay? So this would be my trade window. And since we're going short, I would go from key level 1 to key level 2. I just want to trade momentum between these two key levels. So right on that key level, I'm drawing a GAN box, which I've customized. So I'll draw one to this key level to show you some things. And then I'll do the same from this key level down to, just in case we get a little more volatility. Right there. And so it might be easier if I just show you one at a time. So if you want to focus here, I'll just scoot this over so you can see it better. Okay, real quick. The reason I do this is because this vertical line, which you can get on the GAN box, I set at, was set to 61.8%. I like to use this, so if I say did enter a trade here, and it took, I don't know, a week, let's just say to enter, maybe it's entering over here, this is the 12th, so go plus 7 days, 19, it's right there. Let's just say it finally enters during the trading day on the 19th. The trade should really resolve by here. That's what I'm looking to see at the absolute worst. Of course, I would love to see it, shoot back up, enter. So I've got this offset entry of 8%, pretty much 7.86%, but I'll just call it 8%, and then I'll use the 382 as stop number 1 if I think it's like a stronger trade and doesn't have a chance to really chop up to here. But look at this kind of craziness over here. And that was just in November. Jeez. And it's filling, so it may want to bounce. Who knows? At this point, this 7% would be my entry. I'd put a stop. So instead of using the key level directly, I'll use whatever. And I'll either default stop for me is 0.5 and then default TP. So this would be like trade 1. And the beauty of having the offset, as you can see, bounced around this key level, definitely got offset a couple times, even came usually to the stop loss, and then in options, you never know, right? That could have stopped out. I've been playing with this 8%, Anyways, by offsetting it, instead of it being a 1-to-1, going to 0.5 and 0.5, you actually get a 1.4, which is really cool. And this is always the default trade. So like if I did enter GME, this is what we'd do. And if I wanted to enter a second trade, I would bring that down to the 0.6. If I wanted to enter a third trade, I'd bring it to the 7.86. And if I wanted to do one more, that would be key level to key level. Let me get rid of this double key level thing, because it's interrupting the concept that I'm trying to present here. So this is what I call the risk bloom. It's risk kind of blooming. And as we saw on the put calculator, if each one is 103, and I entered a single, trade to try to get to each level, that would be $400 of risk. So if I was willing, right now, I'm willing to lose up to 300 on a trade if I'm highly convicted. Otherwise, 1 to 2%. So 1% would be here, losing the $100. Adding a second trade would be $200 risk. Third trade, fourth trade, so on and so forth. And when I am able to scale up, capital-wise and everything, maybe you put, 2 trades here, 5 trades, or 10 trades. And the same thing over and over, and of course you can have any system for scaling. If 3 trades here, 1 trade, 1 trade, 1 trade, whatever combo, suits your system, your strategy, your design, really. You get to design it every single time. However, I would like to establish some sort of default package for scaling. That's one thing I need to work on. Right now, basically just say 1, 2, 3, and then I'll add a 4th. But when you start doing 2s and 2s, and you'll be like, oh gosh, I'll leave 1 runner. Who knows? You can play with it. But the point of this is that we can get our entry, which would be 21.55, stop 22.03, and TP is 21.20. They're all really, really tight. And now we're going to look at the options profit calculator, which I like to call profit, like a religious prophet, because it's sort of forecasting to make profit. Anyways, 22 to, what was that, 20? Really, this is a horrible amount of distance, and this is probably why I should go down to the next key level. But this is 20, call it 20 to 20. Okay, and now we're going to calculate. And you see a wide range of stuff here. But what's really cool is, even though it looks quite horrible, 21.55 is our entry. So I want to count. You can see the dates up here: December, Jan, and do full expiration. On a count 1, 2, 3 things in, dates in, which is 4 days. Find 2155. 2155 is right here. So as you can see, it's minus $17. So basically, that's telling you that if we entered right away at 103, we'd instantly be minus $17. Over here, instead of paying 103 per contract, my entry would be 86 cents. And that 86 cents minus 17, yeah, but that's actually where we're entering for a $0 loss. And so this, I don't really track the conversion digitally, but I would put the entry at 0.86 cents here. And then, what was the, sorry guys, what was the stop? 22. So now, based on this 618 ideal trade resolution time frame, that is the, this line. This 61% is at Jan 13. So looking at Jan 13 for the stop at $22, if we were to get stopped out, we would lose. So remember, we entered at minus 17. This is minus 71 here. So you would basically minus 17 from 71, which is almost 20, so it's like $50, $53 loss if we get stopped out. 71 minus 17, 54. So if we add a stop, here, that's what I would say. I would be willing to lose minus $54. But because that's so little, that's 0.05% of my account, I'm willing to lose the whole contract, which we would buy only at $86. So I'm willing to lose the whole thing. And then if I was to take on a second trade, copy that, 1, 2. So if I was going to do the risk blooming strategy, each trade would be separate. And I would say, okay, is it even limited in? So my setting limit orders is active, or is it practice? Just make a note of it, practice. In this case, I'm doing it for you guys on YouTube, so I'll call it practice, or you can say no trade. But because it's so close to a key level, I will probably put in a limit order at 86 and see what happens on Monday. But before that, let's finish seeing what we could make on this trade. So TP1 is 2087 and then 2072. And we're still going to use the Jan 13 dates. So just kind of try to track it, visually. That was 28, Jan 13, 20, that was 87 or something like that. So you can see that from okay, so that should be a plus number. It's minus 17 from the entry to minus 27. This should be a positive number. Because we want to add this number to minus 17. So in this case, it's looking like this really isn't going to give us much. So what if we go down to the next key level? If momentum really does, continue down, take those, 1, 2, 3, 4, lift those up, give them 8% entry, and then we can pull this down. It seems a little extreme, but oh, here we go. So now, with that extremity, we could actually raise our stops, and they go above these wicks, which looks a lot nicer. Okay. So now we'll go to 2250, and we'll go to 20 as the first entry. Modify this to 9.5. Recalculate. Got all these damn ads. It's okay, reduce the screenshot a bit. 75%. Oh, it's not that bad now for some reason. Just seems shorter. Okay, we'll go 3 days in. 21.50-ish. Still 88 cents. Go a little higher? No. 50, 55. What's the difference? 4 cents. So, we'll go with this. And for the 13th, minus 83. So it's a little bit more. Now it's minus 60 bucks. And then we're looking for 20 bucks as TP1, 20 bucks. And I'll just back off once to 18. So that's minus 17 to plus 18. So still, it's not very good risk to reward. So guys, this may just not be a good trade for me. Let's look at the more extreme target of 1860. To 1850. Recalculate. And if we were on the 13s, and we're looking for, what's the next target? Got 1975, 1925, and then 1870. 19, 19, 18. 1975. So in this case, TP would be 46. You're looking at like plus $60. And the sell price would be 149. So I like that one. So get rid of this. And what was the number? 149. As TP 149. That's TP1. TP1. TP1 to make it more sure, 50%. As 149. Yeah. 149. I'll basically do one for each and you can see this is 618 TP if you want. Little note to self. 1925. Always want to make it an easier exit. 181 would be $78 plus the 15 or so, so almost $100 at 181. 1930. $181, and then the final was 1860, 1880. 181 and 224. 181, 224. The entry, same. And the stop, even though I probably wouldn't do one, it's also good to do one because you get practice, doing stops on options. 13, was it 22.50? Yeah. That's 21 cents minus $82. So instead of minus, so you see it's basically the same. Might as well let it expire. $82, $86. Maybe you can get out with, 4 cents or $4. It's 21. Copy. Paste. So that's basically how I would get this trade ready. And just as an additional fun thing, you guys can pause or take a screenshot if you like. This is sort of the flow of the system. We did key levels, we read momentum, we put in the risk strategy, which is all preset to the Gann box entry levels. We journaled, and then after the trade, if you win, the trade is the reinvestment, paying yourself and reinvesting the money. So the key thing for now, until I build more confidence in this key level, using my web blocks, or like I like to call them Saturn blocks, and can trust the volume profile better, and then the AI, and align those two, that would probably make this process way, way faster. And then reading the momentum is really all that I would need to do as a human, just because I haven't figured out how to sort of automate, so to speak, whereas I have preset values. I haven't figured out how to automate. This could be kind of automated with AI and the volume profile. Anyway, so let's go off color. It's better. Alright guys, well, that's what I would do, and I personally may set at least one trade here and see how it progresses, and if it's heading up, maybe reassess. It's going my direction. Not sure, because this is where I'd like it to enter, so we'll see what it does. And after such a nice long bar, I expect at least a little something. Continuation down. And the 3 trades, as I stated, this would be target 1, target 2, target 3. Okay guys, I think I've over talked. Please ask me questions so I can clarify, because this is a learning process, and if you've been trading for a while or new to trading, unless you've gotten very lucky like I have, and many others like me and before me and after me and after you, we all can improve and refine our systems. So have a great weekend. It's Friday, December 12th, Eastern Time. It's almost 8 o'clock. Ciao.